Hi everyone, welcome to new lecture series. This lecture series will be on high voltage engineering. In this high voltage engineering, we have classified or divided our subject into 5 units. In initial part of the syllabus, in unit 1, we will be discussing and learning about the need of high voltage and the importance of electric stress, or you can say electric field stress, and the methods to evaluate or calculate the electric field stress. Because the need for about studying about this electric field stress, because this electric field stress plays a major role while we deal with high voltage engineering. We will come to the basic discussion again. And in second unit, we will be dealing about the how to generate the high voltage. And in middle unit, third unit, we will be discussing about how to measure the high voltages and currents and impulse voltage and impulse currents. And in later units, we will be seeing the different testing methods for this, or different testing methods of high voltage applicators. Let us start our unit 1. So as I said, we will be discussing much about this electric field stress. So before going into this electric field stress, let us see what is this high voltage. So if you want to basically clarify about what is high voltage, then normally we speak in terms of normal language. If our requirement is 12 volts and if the available supply is more than 12 volts, then that can be treated as high voltage. So what are the voltages is available and what is our requirement? When you compare those, if the available voltage is more than what we require, then that voltage can be called as high voltage. So, and if the available voltage is less than what we require, then that becomes a low voltage. So at times in domestic applications, we come across this low voltage because we require 220 volts for every electrical operators or every equipment to function in our house or domestic purpose. But whereas at times the voltage will be less than this 220 volts. At that time, the bulbs, fans, or whatever the electrical appliance in the house will stop functioning normally, and they behave with less intense illuminations, with less speed, and all this, etc. Rather than saying so, if we talk like this, we didn't come to a conclusion where which range of voltage we call as high voltage and which range of voltage we call as low voltage. So in this point of view, the engineers have come up with a set of range of voltages where we can call with different levels of voltages. Like any voltage between 11 kV can be terminated or called as low voltage. And this is talking about the transmission. Okay, these levels of voltage about the transmission. Okay. Similarly, any voltage range between 11 kV to 100 kV can be termed as high voltage. And any voltage between 10 kV, 100 kV to 400 kV can be termed as very high voltage. And a voltage more than 400 kV and above can be termed as extra high voltage. So why we are talking about these different high levels of voltage? Why not we use low levels? Because wherever we see in house, or we generally have single phase or three phase, but these levels of high voltage are basically growing its demand in generation transmission. Okay. So what happens is in developed countries like USA, the power transmission voltage have reached about 565, 765 kVR, even 1100 kVR. At times we have 1500 kV systems also. But in India, we have at most 400 kV, as you can see here, 400 kV of AC power transmission and distribution. Okay. And since about last 10 years, in next coming 5 to 10 years, we can expect the national power grid operating at 400 kV, or it can at most go up to 800 kV, but not more than that. But whereas in developed countries like USA, already the power transmission voltage is gone up to 1100 kV or 1500 kV. Okay, so as the day by day demand of generation and transmission is increasing, the requirement of this high voltage is more. And when we are transmitting or distributing this amount of high level of voltages, so what happens is the equipment which is under transmission distribution will be undergoing a high level of voltages. And the equipment which you use for this transmission and all these are high voltage, which are working on high voltage, should be able to withstand this amount of high voltage. And when this high voltage is appearing across the equipments or conductors, this should be in a condition where they have to withstand. And this is where this importance of electric field or electric stress comes into picture. Like in any mechanical things or mechanical design, if you design a mechanical things, the criteria for design depends on mechanical strength of the material, isn't it? Or in exact technical terms, you can say the criteria of design of mechanical design will depend on mechanical stress that are generated during their operation. Similarly, the apparatus what we work for high voltage will depend on the electric stress and also dielectric strength of insulating material. So here I have introduced a new term called insulating material. It's not new. Because these apparatus and all these equipments are working under high voltage, so we generally say conductors are important part. But along with the conductors, insulators also will play important role, major role here. So what is the function of insulator conductors? So the conductors, what it does is it allows the current to flow to it. At the same time, it is also important for us, for the engineer, to make sure the current does not pass to the unnecessary parts. And that's where the importance of insulators will also come into picture. So it's also important for us as a high voltage engineer or electrical engineer to also look about the insulating materials and also have an in-depth knowledge or at least a basic knowledge about the electric field stress which are developed and when subjected to high voltage. Okay, so these two parts are very important other than conductors. So let us continue. So basically, let us understand the need of high voltage. So generally, the need of high voltage in laboratories will be more. So this need of high voltage will be widely there in converting the power systems in industries, in research laboratories. Okay, so such applications have become essential to sustain modern civilization. So high voltage are applied in laboratories in nuclear research, in particle accelerators, and Van de Graaff generators. Even for transmission of large or bulk power over a long distance of transmission line, high voltages are indispensable. That means when we transmit power at high voltage, okay, so the current will be less, and obviously losses will be less, and the heat energy dissipated will be less when compared to normal less level of voltages, and efficiency might be increased. Also, voltage up to 100 kV are used in electrostatic precipitators, because I'm saying about different ranges here. Okay, and also this, as you said, insulators are very important. So in order to select an insulator or use a particular type of insulator, it is also important that insulator is also going in high voltage along with not only the conductor, the insulator which you are using in the high voltage application like transmission, distribution, whatever you call, it will also undergo high voltage. So these insulators are also should make sure that they are withstanding this amount of high voltage. That means the insulators which we use in this high voltage application should withstand or should be tested under the high voltage, that whether this insulator is capable of withstanding this amount of high voltage. Okay, so basically an high AC voltage of 1 million volts or even more are required for testing apparatus for extra high voltage transmission. That means 400 kV. Even impulse high voltage are required for testing purpose of to simulate over voltage that occur in power system due to lightning or switching charges. And main concern of high voltage is for the insulating testing. Right. Now coming to the application where different levels of high voltage are used. So as you said already, the high voltage are used in laboratories or nuclear research, or particle accelerators and Van de Graaff generators. And also this point also we have said already, voltage up to 100 kV are used in electrostatic precipitators. And if you want to come across daily life in hospitals, the X-ray equipment which is used for medical and industrial application also use high voltages. Okay, so let us say I have the brief discussion about this electric field. So it is essential for every high voltage engineer to have knowledge of field intensities in various media and electric states. It also helps in choosing the proper electrode configuration and economical dimension of the insulation such that high stress regions are not formed and reliable operating of the equipment results in its anticipated life. It is also important for us to configure properly. The field, let us go to this, what you call, because we all are engineers, we enjoy anything representing in maths. We'll try to represent the electric field in mathematical equations. The electric field intensity at any location in an electric field or electrostatic field is the ratio of force on an infinitely small charge at that location to the charge itself as the charge is decreasing to zero. Okay, so let us have a little bit of more, as I said, the importance of electric field. As the mechanical design criteria have electric strength of the material, which is depending on electric stress. Our high voltage applications is also having the dielectric field strength and the stress as important factors. So now, so when you are using this insulating materials and these are undergoing your high voltage thing, the insulators can at times break down. And how does it break down? So, and what are the parameters when it get breakdowns? Not only the electric field stress, but also other parameters are also there, like pressure, temperature, humidity, field configurations, nature of applied voltage, and imperfections in the dielectric materials or material of electrodes and surface conditions. So, as you said, not only high voltage is one of the concern for insulators. These other all parameters are also a concern for the proper function of insulators. In this, one of the important thing is dielectric materials. So basically, we generally classify our dielectric materials into three classifications. One is gases, or you can call vacuum. Second one is liquids, and third one is solids. So one of the best example where you can easily understand is about the transformer oils. So in transformers, we generally use SF6 gas or transformer oils as dielectric materials. So these come under the liquid dielectric materials. Okay. So breakdown of dielectric materials is also one of the important factor, which we'll be discussing in your unit number 2 about different types of the breakdown criteria for different types of materials. Okay. So understanding the failure of insulation will be possibly by the study of possible mechanism by which the failure can occur. This we'll be seeing in your next part of the syllabus in second unit. So most common cause of insulation failure is the presence of discharge either within the void in the insulating or over the surface of the insulators. So probably this type of thing can be avoided. If these type of voids or these type of things can be avoided with the normal working voltage is well and good. If these type of voids are not cleared in the normal working voltages, then it creates a problem. Okay. So then the failure can occur, which results in thermal or electromechanical deterioration of the insulations. So let us give the mathematical shape easily for us to understand. So as we all know, the force in a charge, which I already said, any charge at the particular point is given as F is equal to Q into E, where E is the electric field. The flux density associated with the electric field intensity or electric field is D is equal to epsilon into excuse me, D is equal to epsilon into E, where epsilon is the permittivity of the medium in which the electric field exists. Now, the total work done on a charge when moved in an electric field is defined as a potential, and the potential is equal to the line integral of electric field, where L is the path through which the charge is moved. Here I am assuming a line integral of single dimension. Now they are coming to the electric field distribution. This electric field distribution can be either two types. One is uniform or non-uniform. So what is the uniform electric field distribution? So if the electric field is distributed uniformly or equally through the length of the insulating material or dielectric material, then it is called as uniform electric field. And if not the case, whereas the electric field at one particular instant or one particular point is different when compared to other point, then such type of distribution is called as non-uniform. Okay. So uniform or approximately uniform field distribution exists between two infinite parallel plates or two spheres or two equal diameters when the gap distance is less than the diameter of the sphere. Like there are several types of electrodes, spherical electrodes in parallel plates, parallel plate parts. Sometimes these are different things. You can sphere gap. Different things are there about the electrodes. Currently, we are not. I'm not interested in that. So let us come to a conclusion or come to a mathematical path of representing your electric field. So once we represent our electric field in terms of mathematical equations, then to evaluate about this electric field will become easy. Okay, this is what we electrical engineers like. We require everything in mathematical notations. So we'll have this session of how to represent the electric field stress in terms of mathematical equations in next class. Thank you.